Routine check. At the warden's request, you'll be getting an open visit. I need to search you.
Search me.
Unless we search you, it's protocol. Take off your clothes. Lift your arms. You smell nice. Girlfriend of yours. What's her name? Yeah? She's a lot sexier naked.
Kill you, motherfucker! Come on!
The story kicks off in a quiet, laid-back neighborhood where a soldier named Ray Francis finally makes it back home after being away for years. All he's been dreaming about is reuniting with his girlfriend, Kelly, and starting fresh. On a peaceful day in the park, with the leaves gently swaying in the breeze, Ray can't hold back anymore. He drops to one knee and pops the big question to Kelly. She says yes, and the two of them are over the moon, ready to celebrate their new chapter. But their happiness doesn't last long. Just as they're about to leave, a group of rowdy guys shows up and starts harassing Kelly. Ray isn't the type to just stand by, so he steps in to protect her. Things quickly spiral out of control, and before anyone realizes it, a fight breaks out. During the chaos, one of the men gets hurt badly, hit by something sharp. Not long after, Ray finds himself in court. Even though he was defending Kelly and himself, he's now facing serious charges. The court isn't kind, and Ray gets a harsh sentence. However, because he admits what happened and shows remorse, his sentence is reduced with the promise of early release. But life isn't about to cut Ray any slack. Turns out the guy who died in the fight was the son of a powerful government big shot named Harvey. Grieving and furious, Harvey decides to use his influence and money to make Ray's life miserable. He bribes the prison warden, Jack, to make sure Ray's time in prison is a living nightmare. From the moment Ray steps into prison, things go south. A cruel warden named Rico singles him out and seems to enjoy making his life as hard as possible. On top of that, Ray has to deal with a gang of inmates led by a tough guy named Mazen, who runs the show inside. Tensions hit a boiling point, but thankfully, a warden named William steps in and breaks up a fight before things get worse. Over time, Ray finds a little escape in the prison library. There, he meets David, an older inmate who manages the library and seems to have a calm, wise vibe about him. The library becomes Ray's safe haven, even though Mazen's crew keeps trying to mess with him. Ray keeps his cool and doesn't let their taunts get to him. But Rico isn't done making Ray's life miserable. He searches through Ray's personal stuff, even disrespecting pictures of Kelly to provoke him. Ray can't even catch a break in the restroom. Another inmate tries to mess with him, and when Ray fights back, it only gets him into more trouble. Eventually, Ray pieces things together. The constant harassment isn't random. Jack, the head warden, is behind it all. Jack runs the prison like his personal fiefdom, where fairness doesn't exist and cruelty is the norm. Ray finds himself stuck in a brutal cycle, with Jack pulling the strings and Rico doing his dirty work. During one lunch break, Ray sits with David and a young inmate who seems way too young to be in jail. Their conversation drifts to the library, where it's quieter. David opens up about his past, sharing how he and his younger brother once robbed a place 15 years ago, which led to someone's death. David got caught, but his brother didn't make it. He also confesses that he hid the stolen money, and no one's ever found it. Amid all the chaos, Ray gets a glimmer of happiness when Kelly visits him. It's a surprise, and seeing her lights up his world. But of course, Rico is lurking nearby, trying to get under Ray's skin. Ray keeps his cool, refusing to let Rico ruin the moment with Kelly there. Soon after, trouble brews again when the young inmate Ray had lunch with becomes a target for the other prisoners. Ray steps in to protect him, and Warden Williams shows up to calm things down. But the constant tension is wearing Ray down. When another inmate attacks him, Ray fights back hard, and sure enough, Rico shows up right on cue. This time, Rico brings Jack along, and the two of them take things further. Jack beats Ray badly with a stick, clearly enjoying his power. Meanwhile, Mazen and his gang have their own discussions in the background. They're aware that the top warden, who doesn't agree with Jack's corrupt ways, is trying to distance himself from all the shady dealings. It's clear that the whole system is rotten, and Ray is caught in the middle of a nightmare he never signed up for. Williams had always felt something was off about how Rico and his crew treated Ray. He wasn't the type to blindly go along with shady stuff, and as a senior warden, he tried to warn his colleagues not to fall into Rico's games. But even with his advice, some of them still got tangled up with Jack, who always seemed to be cooking up some new scheme. One day, Rico and his group were snooping through another inmate's belongings and came across a knife. Later, while this prisoner was cleaning the bathrooms, word got out that Rico had used that very knife to kill the top warden and frame the poor guy for the crime. Meanwhile, David, who had drifted apart from Ray, decided to visit him. Over time, David had come to understand Ray better. Ray, known for his bravery as a soldier, viewed his prison sentence as a kind of penance for the life of an innocent person he had taken in the past. The growing bond between Ray and David didn't sit well with Mazen and his gang. They already had a grudge against Ray, and this new friendship only fueled their resentment. Things hit a boiling point when Mazen's crew attacked someone in the shower and tried to pin the blame on Ray's group. But Ray wasn't having it. He fought to clear his name and expose Mazen's gang for what they had done. Not long after, Kelly came to visit Ray again, but this visit turned into another cruel setup by Rico and his buddies. They subjected her to a degrading and unnecessary strip search, hoping it would break Ray emotionally. Mazen was in on this plan too, teaming up with Rico to make life even worse for Ray. Their goal was to drive a wedge between Ray, Kelly, and David, pushing Ray to his breaking point. All of this took a heavy toll on Ray. He shut himself off, overwhelmed by the constant stress and cruelty. He barely spoke to anyone and kept to himself, feeling like he was stuck in an endless nightmare. Williams, who had always had Ray's back, managed to get him out of solitary confinement and tried to talk to him about what had happened. But by this point, Ray had lost all trust and refused to open up. The next day, Ray went back to his routine, but trouble wasn't far away. He found out that Mazen had tried to manipulate the young inmate into attacking him. When the kid refused, Mazen turned on him and hurt himself instead, trying to frame Ray. This news sent Ray into a rage. The following day, Mazen and his crew confronted him, demanding answers. Ray, relying on his military instincts, quickly sized them up and knew he could take them down if it came to a fight. When the moment came, Ray overpowered Mazen and had him at a disadvantage. In his anger, Ray considered ending it all right there, but David's calm, knowing glance stopped him. Just as Ray was hesitating, Mazen tried a dirty move, grabbing a weapon and going for Ray from behind. But David, with lightning-fast reflexes, stepped in, shielding Ray and taking the hit himself. Later, still in handcuffs, Ray was taken by Williams to meet with Jack in his office. During their tense conversation, Jack smugly revealed his reasons for all the horrible things he'd done, even bragging about how much he was paid for his dirty work. What Jack didn't know, though, was that Ray was secretly recording the entire exchange. That recording was all Williams needed to expose Jack and his cronies, dragging them into a massive bribery scandal. Meanwhile, David was in bad shape from his injuries. Knowing he didn't have much time, he entrusted Ray with an important mission: to find the hidden stash of money from his past crime and make sure a portion of it went to his daughter. David had grown to see Ray as someone he could trust completely, and this was his final wish. When Ray's release day finally came, Kelly was there waiting for him, her love for him unwavering despite everything they'd been through. Honoring David's request, Ray quickly delivered the message and the money to David's daughter. The story wraps up with Williams welcoming a new inmate into the prison, none other than Harvey, the powerful man who had orchestrated all the chaos in the first place. The tables had finally turned, and justice was served. So, if there's a lesson to take away from all this, it's this: always record your shady boss's dirty little secrets. You never know when that recording might save your life, and even uncover some hidden treasure along the way.